this is ppg.x. I would like to share you some details about my brand new sim racing setup. I have just completed the build by myself and had one objective in my mind. My primary objective was really to replicate my real car. It is a GT3 RS MR and I wanted to have a very authentic driving experience when doing virtual racing. My plan is to use iRacing, which is a very realistic driving simulation. A lot of good friends are racing there, professional racers as well as amateur drivers, so that should be a lot of fun. Okay, let's have a look now at the different sim setup components. First, let's start with the rig itself. You can see I have the Wrenchboard V2 cockpit. It is very sturdy, that's why I chose it. It has no flex at all, so that's important if you do racing. The second thing you can see here is the wheelbase. I'm using a Fanatic direct drive wheelbase, and as the name of direct drive implies, the drive's directly driving the wheel, right? So you don't have any loss like you do have with a belt-driven motor. You definitely need a direct drive for maximum precision. There are a lot of other good options out there, like from Simicube, but for my personal need, the Fanatic setup is perfect. For me, it was also important to have no movement in the wheelbase, so you can see the mounting brackets here. They're absolutely solid, so they're really good in terms of engineering. There's no movement whatsoever. Let's have a closer look now at the steering wheel. I'm using a 918 RSR steering wheel, as you can see, and it has shift lights on top, which are actually very bright. You don't miss them out in the night, and a lot of functions and buttons. What I personally like most about the steering wheel is it is very similar in terms of dimensions to my actually road car steering wheel. As a fun fact though, the RSR version of the 918 Spider didn't make it into production. This is only a prototype, but however the quality is very similar to an automotive type steering wheel. So I guess this should do the job. Another benefit is the quick release you can see here, so you can very easily change the wheel. Okay, anyways, let's have a look now at the bucket seat. I chose a Sparco Rev 2 bucket seat because for me the balance between comfort for longer racing and also the feeling of a real racing seat is pretty good. You also have that seat rail you can see here. You can move and adjust the seat. It has actually the OEM seat rail of a real car, and the full bucket seat is FIA homologated. It doesn't help me in sim racing, but at least you could mount it into an actual race car because it's not a play seat or something fake. And as a little motivation, I also placed my 649 Nürburgring custom sticker on the seat as well. So I have that on my real car, and it's just for fun, as a little motivation. I also have my real gloves here of my actual car, in case I need them later on. And most importantly, my little Red Bull tray here. I've built that by myself as well. It is mesh design similar as the whole rig, and that should keep me concentrated for longer races. You can also see the race navigator here. I'm not using it for sim racing, but in case I need to look up data, I can do that. And a Teufel surround system, as you can see here. I'm not using it quite often because I mostly use my headset. And here's another custom thing I've created. You can see a Microsoft Pad computer. I will probably use that as a dashboard for lap times or showing vehicle stats, anything that you don't want to have in your main screen on top. So that small display can be moved and adjusted or even detached as needed. So that should be quite convenient. Let's see how that works. And as another custom thing I've created, here's my little phone tray. It is fully cushioned. You can see it's very soft, not scratching my phone. And here's a true highlight of my whole sim setup. I think this is an absolutely beautiful button box, which I bought here. And also in terms of engineering, it's brilliant. Look at the brake force or the brake balance, front and rear, how easily it can be adjusted. You still have the tactile feedback of all the buttons, dials and switches. So you can always feel if the button is depressed or pressed. Not like a toy where you don't feel anything. I'll probably use that button box for secondary controls and then put the primary controls on my steering wheel. So let's see how that works out. Let me quickly show you my keyboard as well. It is fully integrated with a touchpad because I didn't want to use a mouse, a separate mouse. You just slide with your finger, it's nothing fancy, you know how that works. I think most importantly, this is something I wanted to get in the right position. So I've created a custom mount. It is very rigid, but you can still turn, twist and tilt the keyboard as needed. It's a wireless keyboard, so it's not distracting with cables. For easy audio control, I have mounted this little Teufel touch dial. You can just press the button and adjust the volume as needed. With a very powerful wheelbase, it's also important to have an emergency stop function if something goes wrong. And I can also use this switch here to turn off the whole system, the wheelbase and so on. One of the most important things in sim racing is the choice of pedals. Right now I have the Fanatic V3 Club Sport pedals. They're quite decent in terms of build quality. You can also adjust the brake force. They are based on a load cell. You can adjust the screws or dials here and have different damper kits. However, in terms of overall performance, there are better kits out there. For example, the Hüsingfeld Sprint pedals, or there are even very crazy hydraulic systems where you can spend thousands of dollars or euros. So there's really no open end. Okay, let's have a look at the monitor setup. Before we deep dive into that, let me just call out, there are a lot of different options out there. First of all, you have the triple screen setup. That's probably the most popular one by sim racers. And it's definitely an excellent choice. And second, you have the VR glasses, the virtual reality glasses. They're very immersive, but they're quite limited in terms of resolution, and also you can't see the button box or your secondary display. So I went with the third option, which is the big screen you can see here. I'm using a curved 49-inch mega screen from Samsung. It has very high quality resolution or high resolution and also high hertz rate, so I hope that works quite well. And here's my old gaming computer. Well, not really old, it's still very fast, but I'm not using it for sim racing anymore. And here is my new gaming PC, which I will use for sim racing. It is a very fast machine running GeForce 2080 Ti, so the latest graphic card, and also has an Intel i9 processor set up with 8 cores, so lots of processing power. You actually need that for iRacing because it's very heavily loading the CPU if you have big tracks, lots of cars and so on. And then again, of course, you also need a fast GPU, so fast graphic card, because iRacing will eat up your graphic card resources quite quickly if you run high resolution with lots of frames per second. Okay guys, thanks for watching so far. I hope you liked my little introduction of my new sim setup. Let me know what you want to see next. I will probably do some driving shots, the first driving shots in iRacing, and let's see how that goes. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't, and cheers and bye bye.